Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, straights and gays, friends and enemies, lovers and haters, dog people as well as cat people, Republicans and Democrats. Just kidding. We don't want any Democrats. We don't want any Democrats on this podcast. But welcome to the W Ritz podcast, episode 3. We are so happy to have you join us.
And I don't know if you guys are noticing anything on your end, but we're in a slightly different setting this time. We are actually not in the same room here.
Yep, unfortunately, due to some unforeseen circumstances, some stuff that life threw at us, we were unable to record together in the same room, aka my basement. So William is on the phone, and hopefully you can still hear him just as well as normal.
Call, and we are recording our podcast through that.
Indeed, we are.
Hopefully next week we will be back in Isaac's studio, aka his mother's basement.
You always make it a point of it being my mother's basement, but
because it's funny to assume that you're the playing into the stereotype, Isaac, even though you're 15, so it's perfectly reasonable for you to be living at home.
True. I mean, I think it's actually illegal for me not to live at home or something like that.
That's yeah, I think
I just say it's my basement because a lot of my stuff is down here. Like, it's almost like I own 2 rooms in this house. There's a lot of my stuff down here. It's all fun stuff, but anyway.
Oh yeah, he's got like a drum kit, 2 drum kits.
Yeah,
he's got
I have
like
2 drum
Legos
kits
down there. It's so much fun.
It is. Yeah. Anyway, today on the W Ritz podcast, we are going to be talking a bit more in depth on the topic of masculinity, and we may have a surprise for you in the second segment. We'll see.
We'll see. We're still not too sure about that.
Yeah, so don't get your hopes up, even though we all know that you're already excited because you're listening to our podcast.
Oh, of course. Who wouldn't be excited?
Exactly. And I believe that I don't know about you, Will, but I also have some fresh music to share with our audience. Some good tunes. Yes, I do.
I also have some fresh music, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to take a listen to it later.
Hear the
songs,
hear the title, but not the actual music.
I'm sure I'll listen to it at some point.
I'll send the music to you later, but we'll see.
You should.
We'll see if you actually listen to them.
Exactly. I have
but
been.
Anyway,
we're
getting off track here, Isaac. What's this
about
the topic of masculinity?
Yes. All right. Well, fine. You want to get into it? All right. We can get into it.
Oh yeah, I want to get.
We have a lot to say, so we're going to need as much time as possible.
Yep.
Anyway, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, William, and this is how I come up with a lot of topics of the podcast. I just come across something random, and it seems like it would be fun to talk about.
Most interesting stuff on YouTube. Let me just say.
I do. Anyway, it was this guy talking about masculinity, and I feel like what he says is very relatable to a lot of men, but I also think that it's extremely false, and it's kind of...
Ooh, in what way?
What he says is very sad, and I'll explain exactly how I think it's false later, but let's just say
maybe
I disagree
you should
with a lot
read
of
out what he said first.
I am going to do that, William. I am going to do that,
Good.
William. I
want to hear it.
I am prefacing what we are going to be talking about. So anyway, in this little video, this woman, she says, "What does it mean to be a man?" And this man responds, "It means that no matter what you do, it's never good enough. We're supposed to pay for dinner. We're supposed to open doors for women. We're supposed to help them carry heavy stuff. We're supposed to call them ma'am, and nowadays that's insulting. It means your mental health doesn't matter. Male suicides make up 3 times the amount of female suicides. I was in the hospital for 11 days on suicide watch. They put me in counseling for maybe 2 months, and then they just sent me on my way. Guys don't open up about their problems because nobody cares. You're supposed to get up and walk it off. So why even bother opening up about it, right? It means every time you meet a woman, she automatically thinks that you could possibly be a predator, that they have to carry pepper spray and tasers to defend themselves against you. No matter how good we are, a woman could just divorce us, take half our money and our kids. And if you're unhappy in a relationship, that's your own problem. But if a woman's unhappy in a relationship, that's also your problem. Basically, you better be able to provide or you are a loser." Now, I think that a lot of what is said here is true, and a lot of it is not.
There is a lot of truth there, I will say.
I would agree with that. I would agree that there is some truth, but I think that we need to be careful how much, as men, we let our feelings tell us, well, the world really dealt you a dirty one. But if you don't mind, William, I would like to go through a little critique of this. Just
Okay, yeah.
I'll
let
list
you
the problems
give a
I
little
have.
monologue, and then I'll give an input after you're finished.
That would be
Because
wonderful of
we're
you.
very respectable and distinguished gentlemen who have very respectable arguments.
Indeed, we are. We are some of the best people you'll ever meet.
Oh yeah.
All right. So he says it means that no matter what you do, it's never good enough. We're supposed to pay for dinner. We're supposed to open doors, etc., etc. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. That's part of your God-given job as a man. You are supposed to protect women. You're supposed to. I mean, God never explicitly said, pay for the woman's dinner on a date, but that would be the chivalrous thing to do, right?
Yes.
We're supposed to call them ma'am. Well, if they want to be called ma'am, if that's a way that you can show respect to them, then yeah, you should do that. Obviously, I hate to anger any feminists, but the Bible is clear that men and women have different roles, and men are supposed to be the providers, and women are supposed to be their helpers. And that's not to say that women can't get jobs or, be in the military, whatever. But it is to say that
I don't know if they should be in the military, though.
Well,
that's a whole different topic here. So
we can have differing opinions on that. It's okay. I personally don't have a problem with it, but that's another debate. Maybe we can talk about that in our next podcast.
I have a couple problems with it, but
we should talk about that sometime.
We're getting off track, but maybe in another podcast we'll talk about that.
Maybe we'll talk about it in the third segment. I don't know.
Maybe.
But anyway, he says nowadays that's insulting, and that's true. I do not like the culture that says, well, if you open the door for a woman and you're a man, you automatically are sexist. You think that they can't do anything for themselves. You're calling women weak.
They're completely missing the point of chivalry.
Yeah.
They think that chivalry is like demeaning towards women. No, it's not. It's the opposite, actually. Like, they're showing respect towards women by helping them out.
Maybe women like to open the door for themselves, and that's fine. Like, if you want to open the door for yourself, it's no problem for me to just walk in the door and, ignore you. Like, I don't mind. But generally speaking, it's a much better, more noble idea to hold the door open for a woman, or even for the next person that's coming, in after you.
It doesn't even just need to be for women, just anybody coming up behind you. Like,
yeah, it's just polite.
Like, you see somebody walking behind you and you just shut the door in their face, like, how rude is that?
I don't think I've ever seen a culture that gets more offended at people doing nice things for each other, which is kind of sad.
That's facts.
And I've never lived in another culture, but I have the wisdom of my ancestors to tell me that things weren't always like this.
Yeah, through, books and, history, we know that things were much different back then.
Exactly. But anyway, this is where it really gets interesting. So far, there hasn't been that much that, I think what he said so far has all been true. This is where I would start to take a problem with some of what he says. He says it means that your mental health doesn't matter. Male suicides make up 3 times the amount of female suicides. I was in the hospital for 11 days on suicide watch. They put me in counseling for maybe 2 months. They just sent me on my way. Guys don't open up about their problems because nobody cares. They're supposed to get it up and walk it off. Now, I know that it's tempting, especially even for myself, to just blame all my problems on some kind of mental health thing. I feel depressed this week. I feel anxious this week, so I don't need to get my homework done. Do I get my homework done anyway? Yes, because I know that I don't want to get bad grades in school. But the reality is, even if we're going to take away the whole, ignoring, certain feelings just to be able to function like a normal member of society, the reality is, if you don't have any friends, your mental health doesn't matter one bit whether you're a male or a female. It doesn't matter. Like, if you don't have people that care about you, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Your mental health doesn't matter to anyone. You're right. No one cares about your feelings unless you make friends with people who care about you.
Well, wait. Even if you don't have any friends, there's still one person who does care about you.
Your eternal
and
friend.
Your feelings.
Your eternal friend.
God.
That's right.
Yes, Jesus
right.
Christ. No matter what situation you're in, he cares about you.
Exactly. And I think, I'll get into that more later, but I think that's part of the problem with culture today. I mean, I know it's part of the problem with culture today.
I mean,
we've ignored God.
Most problems with culture can be traced back to lack of Christian value and love for Jesus. So.
But anyway, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you don't have friends, your mental health doesn't matter. You're right. And if a man forms true friendships with other men who will do more than just play video games and whoop and holler all the time, they will find that people do actually care about their mental health. There are special people that God will bring into your life that will care about your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
And it's true. Like, for instance, I don't give a crap about some random man who lives in London because I don't know of their existence. That's the same thing for a random woman who lives in London or who lives in wherever. It's
Yeah.
true that if you don't have people who support you and love you, yeah, no one really cares about your mental health other than God. But if we're talking about, a human context where you're dying for someone to care about your mental health, yeah, you're right. If you don't have friends, no one cares. Which is why you need friends. And saying that your gender
honestly, yeah.
saying that your gender
Having
automatically
friends and having, a regular social event to go to will improve your mental health drastically.
Exactly. And
like, I remember back when I was a bit of a shut-in, I was shy. I didn't talk to people that much. I was pretty depressed.
Wallflower.
But then I started, trying to make friends with people, started talking to people, opening up more. And then I became a much more happy person and a much better mental state.
Yeah, same for me, bro. Same for me. But, tying your gender to someone caring about you, that's ridiculous. You can't do that. As a man or a woman, you can't just blame all your problems on your gender.
I do understand his point about the greater whole of society not caring about men as much.
True.
Well, I don't.
But does it really matter? If you don't have a personal connection with someone, even if society supports you as, say, an LGBTQ black woman, whatever, does it really matter? You're still going to feel alone. It's not like a whole month dedicated to you is going to make you feel any better.
But they don't support you on a personal level. Well, they just support your identity as a bisexual, freaking, I don't know, trans woman.
And you can see that they don't actually care about their own. If you disagree with the left on one thing, you can be gay, you can be whatever, you can be a minority, and black conservatives illustrate this very well. They say they care about black people, but if you're a black conservative, you might as well be a piece of trash to the Democrats, right?
Yeah, it's like Biden said, what did he say? It was like, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black.
Yeah, that's what Biden said, right?
He said that. That's a real thing he said.
Yeah. But anyway, saying that your gender automatically ties you down to certain things, such as people not caring about you, is ridiculous. And the fact is that if you're a man, you do have certain responsibilities. If you're a woman, you also have certain responsibilities. But the great thing about America is that in ancient cultures, you look at it, women generally couldn't pursue positions in government or become much more than a housewife. Our country instead has given people the freedom to change their situations and to better themselves.
Yep.
And, just because you are male doesn't mean you can't find a group of people who do care about your mental health. Just because you're male doesn't mean that you're, automatically doomed to a life of separation and isolation and unhappiness and depression and whatever else.
Because just ignore what society says and go find people who care about you.
Generally speaking, it's always a good idea to ignore society. Let's be honest.
But yes, that's facts.
But how you were saying that God cares about you, well, part of the reason why I think that this is so insightful into the problems of our culture is a church would solve this man's problems.
Oh, that's so true.
It is. And, that's part of the thing. If you go to a church and you actually hang around people who share a religious belief with you and love you, things are going to go much, much better for you. And
because, church isn't only a place, just to go, learn more about the Bible. It's also, a place to have fellowship with other Christians.
Right. And
to be able to talk to people who will care about you and listen to your problems and try to help you.
And this is why you need a good church family. You and I, we go to the same church.
Yes, we do.
And I love it. I love it.
I love our church.
Would I say
the people there are fantastic.
Would I say that
really they all care about each other. They all work really hard for whatever project they're doing.
Except on Sunday.
It's amazing.
But I would say, do I agree with everyone there on everything? No. Do I necessarily want to hang out with everyone there all the time? No. But that doesn't mean that I'm at a bad church. It doesn't mean that I don't have people who care about me. And, if you just would take the time to go to church, and I'm talking to secular society here, if you would just take the time to go to church, or even just the time to find some really good, wholesome friends, that would solve a lot of your problems. And obviously, if you're only finding wholesome friends, not all of your problems are going to be solved. Even if you have Jesus, not all of your earthly problems are going to be solved. But
all the problems that matter will be solved if you find Jesus.
That is right. That is right. Let's see. What else? What else did I want to say about this? You know, this last part is interesting. I know we're going long for a first segment here, but it's
But,
fascinating.
you know, this is an important topic too, because
Exactly. It's very,
yeah,
very important. The last thing that he says is, it means every time you meet a woman, she automatically thinks that you could possibly be a predator, and that they have to carry pepper spray and tasers to defend themselves against you. Now, I don't know about you, Will, but I have not so far had any woman pull pepper spray or a taser on me. It could be because I'm not fully grown yet. It could be because I
yeah, you're
don't
not
look that
really,
scary. But I'm thinking,
yeah.
like, generally, unless you live in a city, I don't think you're really going to have that much of a
I
problem with
mean,
women
you
pulling pepper
can't
spray
really
on you.
blame people for being wary of strangers,
Well, yeah. I
because
mean,
like, even if you're a man, like, you still have to be wary, because like, you never know, like, if some crazy person or some like old enemy of yours is gonna come up and try to attack you, or if you're gonna be mugged or anything, because like, I I think most men are like assault victims of like violent crimes. They're yeah.
yeah, that is very true. But even if this is unfortunately the case, which I think it is in some cases, I think that this is true in some cases, some areas. The
Uh-huh.
fact that the fact that some men are sewer dwelling scum, you don't have any control over that. You can't change the life of someone who lives over in Los Angeles, California. Only Jesus can do that. But
Yes.
so your goal should be to change that perception as much as possible. You can't control other
Yeah.
men, but you can control
I do
yourself,
think
right?
the feminists are like purposely trying to portray men as like all men as like rapists and murderers and violent people,
Well,
which is
yeah,
very bad. But you know, we should be actively working against that,
right.
showing that men, not all men are evil, violent, disgusting people.
And you
A
know what?
lot of them are really good people who will work hard to protect you and your kids and their community and work hard to provide for you.
Right. And you know what's interesting, Will?
What?
Even though today's culture looks down on true masculinity so much, doesn't want anything to do with it. Um, I think that more than ever, women are actually longing for true chivalry, true masculinity.
Oh, for sure.
And so that should be
But
the goal of any man who wants to be a decent man. Show that
yeah,
chivalry. Be the man that most men aren't. I mean, you look at it today, most
exactly. Yeah.
men, they just,
Be chivalrous, work hard,
yeah,
become strong,
do some
get a
push-ups.
good job. Yeah.
But you think about it,
Be
like
respectful,
you were talking
control your
earlier today.
emotions, but don't suppress them.
You were talking earlier today about the stereotype of, me being in the basement of my parents and all that. That's what most men do these days, right?
That's yeah.
I think that
Well, I
as a
don't know.
society
Is
we
it
can do
most
better.
men? I know a lot of men do that, but
Yeah.
I don't know the
Well,
specific statistic on that.
I'm not sure either. I mean, a lot of times we're just pulling facts here, pulling facts out of thin air. But
Yeah, like 60% of statistics are made up on the spot.
yeah. And then last thing here, we're approaching 20-minute mark, so we should get moving on. But
Oh goodness.
thing is, he says, no matter how good we are, a woman could just divorce us, take half our money and our kids. That's a legal problem. That needs to be changed. But he also says
That does need to be changed.
if you're unhappy in a relationship, that's your own problem. But if a woman's unhappy in a relationship, that's also your problem. Well, I think that we have seemed to forgotten the possibility of breaking up. I don't mean
You
to
mean
say,
before you get married?
yeah, I don't mean to say that, like, every single problem can be solved by breaking up. But if you're in a relationship with a woman who pins all the problems in your relationship on you, everything
Oh,
that goes wrong is your fault.
that is the definition of a toxic relationship,
As
and you
long
need to get out of there as soon as you can.
if those accusations are true, or like if they're true, then you need to work on it. If they're not true, you can leave. You can leave. You shouldn't be in a
Yeah.
relationship with someone like that anyway, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess sometimes it can be hard to tell because some women are very good at like putting on a mask of like someone different.
Some are quite
So,
some are quite manipulative. Yes,
yeah,
I think that's the
exactly.
definition of woman.
Yeah, it
Some
sucks that
cases.
this is a problem in the first place with because like yeah,
Yeah.
just when you're a man, you just have to use really, really good judgment when you're dating a woman. Bring her around your friends and your family because they'll be able to tell if there's like something bad about her, if there's something sus going on in her brain.
That's right.
And listen to them when they tell you there's something wrong going with her.
Correct.
Because I know a lot of men can be like super defensive about their girlfriends.
Yeah.
Because like they're like they finally got a girl to like them, and they don't want somebody telling them, she's not really the girl you think she is. So.
Yeah. Well, some men, if they can get a girl to like them, there's probably something wrong with the girl. Let's be honest.
Wow. Who are you calling out there with that one, Isaac?
No one in particular. No one in particular.
I don't know about that one.
Anyways, my dear listeners, no offense to you women out there. If you're listening to this podcast and you're a woman, you're probably a very good woman. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I bet you also didn't think that you were going to be getting a whole lot of relationship advice on today's podcast. But, you know, William and I think that we could I think we could make a business out of relationship advice, right? I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
It'd be fun.
Like
It'd
be
be fun.
relationship counselors?
Yeah.
Sure. Heck,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Hey, I'd do it too, especially if I get paid. But anyway, dearest listeners, we will be back in a few minutes with the second segment of the W. Ritz podcast. Hope you've enjoyed our deeper conversation about modern masculinity.
I know I did.
Give us a couple minutes here. We got to prepare for the second segment. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the other things that I listed in the first segment, welcome back to the second segment of the W. Ritz podcast. We hope you've been enjoying it so far, but boy, do we have a fun surprise for you. William, tell our dear listeners about what we have
We
planned.
have a very, very special guest in this segment. Some of you know him, some of you don't. Some of you love him, some of you hate him. It is the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Lucas Burt.
Welcome. Oh, come on, man. You had to do us like that?
Okay, bro.
Welcome to the W. Ritz podcast, Lucas.
That's me. Hey there.
Even though you're being disrespectful, we're happy to have you on as our first ever guest. We hope you're honored too.
Our first guest, and certainly not our last.
Definitely not. But
So,
Lucas, you have to start
Good.
off the whole guest
How's
thing
it
with a
feel
bang.
to-
Bang. You have to do a good
What?
job, okay?
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Good. How does it feel to be on here?
A little underwhelming.
Okay,
You know what? That
bro.
makes sense. I think a lot of people kind of hyped up our podcast a lot.
Are you saying we
I
didn't deserve that,
think-
Will?
Wait, what?
Are you saying we didn't deserve all the hype, Will?
Huh?
Come on, bro.
I'm not saying we didn't deserve it. I'm just saying, some people may have said things about it that weren't, necessarily true.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Like me.
Yes, like him.
All right.
Anyway,
Well, anyway, folks.
let's get into our music here.
Yes, indeed. It is the return of the music review. We're not reviewing our top 5 songs this time. This time we're going off of our new music because William and I have added some stuff to our playlist recently that we're dying to
indeed.
share. Well, maybe not dying, but Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, and if Lucas wants to add something he's added to one of his playlists, he's welcome to do so.
Indeed.
Sure.
Lucas, since you're the guest, let's have you go first. Let's be mean.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Let's pick on the new guy.
Let's see. The last song I added to my general playlist was a Feel Bad Incorporated by Gorillaz.
Okay, all right. We got
Ooh,
a
I love
Gorillaz fan
Gorillaz.
here, huh? I never liked
You ever
them.
heard that
You
one?
know what else is funny?
I haven't heard that one, but I have heard a couple other songs.
You know what else is kind of
This
weird,
is actually,
guys?
here, wait. The specific song, now that I'm looking at it, it's a mashup of Feel Bad and Sans' theme.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Wait, you're gonna have to send that to me. I gotta listen to that.
Yeah, I will. It's by Gold and then capital M.
Interesting. All right, I'll have to check that out.
You know, Lucas, has there ever just been like a band like where everybody else loves it and you just can't stand it? Or a song?
A song? Oh, I gotta think.
I think
maybe-
you're the one that doesn't like Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Yeah,
No.
I am not
No,
a fan of Queen.
No way does Lucas not like Bohemian Rhapsody.
All right,
no
all right.
way.
Look, Will, it's kind of fair because I like parts of it. Like, I love parts of it. Parts of it are amazing, and parts of it suck.
Yeah, like
I love the entire thing, the
instrumental,
whole
like the piano
kibosh.
at the beginning. The piano at the beginning is real nice, and the the concept of the people Galileo, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty neat. But like overall, if you put it together, it's just kind of like when you take all your different really tiny Lego models and then put it into one big abomination.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it
sure,
can feel,
it's
it can
cool
feel
that
way.
you made that.
Amazing. It's a masterpiece.
It's amazing that you made that giant Lego abomination, but it's a lot better when you have them displayed as the individual little ships.
I
and things.
disagree so hard. I love Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, you know, Will, one band that I can't stand that everybody else loves, they're like, oh, this is one of the best bands ever. You know, it's Arctic Monkeys.
I have never heard of them.
Arctic Monkeys. I'm looking that up right now.
I do not like them. I do not like them. I'll look them up too. Arctic Monkeys. Go.
Arctic
All right.
Monkeys.
They have 7 million subscribers on YouTube.
They're some kind of rock band, I
Goodness.
guess. They're an English rock band. I don't like them.
Oh, English rock band. Oh, that makes sense.
Every song I've heard from them just sucks.
Well, what's their genre? Just pop music?
It's like pop rock, I think, something like that.
Oh, pop rock. I don't
like
interesting.
it. I don't like it. But anyway, Will, do you want to go next for music, or should I go?
You can go next.
All right.
I'll be the polite gentleman here.
All right. Should we do one at a time, or should we just throw them all into one thing?
You can throw them all out.
You see, dear listeners, this is part of our as we're doing the podcast figuring out process. We have to figure out what we're actually going to do.
Yeah,
we
do
are
not
experts
plan
at being
anything
laid
out.
back on a podcast. You have to
Because
admit.
it's more fun when you just make it up as you go.
Right. Love us
Keeps
or
you on
hate
your
us.
toes.
Love us or hate us. You must admit that we are very laid back on this podcast. It's very fun.
Oh yeah, we do not take
Define
anything
laid back.
seriously.
I will not define laid back, bro.
Okay.
But anyway,
Define it yourself, buddy.
I am going to keep with the theme of. I'm going to go with a band called Foo Fighters, and if you haven't heard of them, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I've
but
heard of them.
They are one of
I have heard of them,
they're one
actually.
of the best modern rock bands in the world, I think. I go through times where like I really love their songs and where I really, they're okay, don't love them, but this is one of those times. This week has been one week where I've really just listened to a lot of Foo Fighters, so I'm just gonna list a bunch. Like "Learn to Fly" for one song. It's a really good song. It has a good guitar line. I like everything about it, and the drum part is awesome. Like playing it on my drum kit is amazing, and we have to get in that passing reference to my drums. We do it every podcast, Will.
Of course, yeah.
But seriously, it's a great song. Love it. Times Like These is another good one by them. Rope is really good. But the one song that I've been kind of obsessed with, and I think that it's kind of weird because I don't like the version with lyrics. I like the instrumental version. It's Everlong. If you've ever heard of it, you know that the guitar line is like awesome, but the lyrics, like, there's nothing wrong with the lyrics. It's not like I feel like I can't listen to them and still be a Christian. I just don't like the way they make the song sound. I don't know what it is, but I just don't.
Interesting. I'll have to take a listen to that.
It kind of overpowers the guitars sometimes, like I overpower Will's voice on these podcasts, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it for me. But yeah, if you haven't checked out Foo Fighters, do it now, or else we will be very unhappy with you. Just kidding. We're never unhappy with our listeners. We love you guys.
We love you all.
Anyway.
Except me. I
What?
don't love you all.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't have to, because you're not a regular.
Yeah, he doesn't have to love anybody.
That's right. Except for, the whole Jesus said love your enemies thing and all that. But
yeah,
but it's not. I don't personally hate anybody. I just kind of passively hate you.
Oh.
So
Like,
he
it's not
doesn't
personal.
really hate you. He just more sort of jokingly hates you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
I've
don't
done
know
that
him.
to a few people. That happens to me. All right, well.
Makes sense.
Right, like until I meet you, I'm not inclined to really love you, right?
True.
I'm not really inclined to be
He
nice to you.
loves
until I
you
meet you.
as you should any stranger as a Christian, but he doesn't love you personally.
Doesn't mean he likes you.
Ideally.
All right,
Anyway.
well, go.
Anyway, all right. So here are a few songs that my friend just introduced to me this past Sunday. This first one is called "I Hate Her Boyfriend's Face" by PM Bada. It's quite interesting, this song. You just have to listen to it to understand.
It sounds interesting, bro.
I'll have to send it to you later.
You better.
These next two are "Golden Hour" by JVKE and
Oh, yeah.
"Electric Love" by Borns.
The Golden Hour one, I've heard that one so many times. It's so popular, and I don't like it.
You don't like it,
Like,
really?
the piano is cool, but it's slow, it's boring, the
I don't know.
lyrics
I
are
think
kind of
it's quite
wishy-washy.
nice. And
Well-
I don't know how I haven't heard it before this past Sunday, but I'm glad I did.
Lucky for you, William, you actually don't have to agree with me on everything, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, now.
I can have my own unique thoughts,
Well,
like an independent person.
You know, dear listeners, what one of Will's independent thoughts is that we're going to talk about on this podcast with Lucas?
Let's hear
Oh,
it.
Lucas, William and I were discussing masculinity in the last segment, and, well, I made a passing reference to how I think that it's okay for women to be in the military, and Will said that he disagrees. So clearly,
Yeah, I
because he
do
disagrees
disagree.
with me, he is a sexist, and he is a terrible person, and he should not be allowed to talk about his
No.
opinions on this podcast. So let's see, Lucas, do you still retain the right to express your opinions on this podcast? Are you in agreement with me or in agreement with William?
I don't really have a stance on that subject because I'm not in the military, nor am I a woman.
Well, you could become a woman
But
if you wanted
if
to.
I had to say anything about it, it'd be like, which part of the military would you allow the woman to be a part of?
That is indeed the question that all people
That's
who
an
believe that
interesting
women
question.
shouldn't be in the military ask me.
'Cause yes, I think a woman should be in the military, but should a woman do like the intense labor?
you mean like be like
Preferred.
one of the troops that goes out and does the fighting, like on the ground, like shooting guns at the other?
I don't think that women are incapable of doing that.
Well, I didn't
and-
say they were incapable. I just don't think they should.
You don't think they should? Well, I think they can if they want to, but it depends on where you and your strengths lie. Like let's say that I was a woman, a whole other story there. But let's say I was a woman
Let's hope you don't
I
ever
know-
become one.
that okay, and scrap that. I'm a man, and I don't feel confident in going to the military because I don't have the strength to be in the military. So if you're a woman and you think you have the capability to play a role in the military, then by all means go ahead. No problem. All propaganda aside, I mean, like, do what you want, right? But
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think that the U.S. military should automatically assign women to the front lines like they would men, but if a woman wants to be on the front lines, I don't think that there's a problem with that, as long as it's not conflicting with, like if they have a family. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one.
Well,
But
here's the thing, Isaac. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier about men and women having their own God-given roles.
yeah,
And I think part of men's duty is to be the ones to go out and fight the wars to protect, their country and their wives and children and stuff.
that is true. I think that it is a responsibility given to men, but is it a responsibility that was expressly said not to be given to women is the question.
I'll have to check the Bible on that.
Indeed.
you know
I
who
think,
would be a really good person to ask this question to?
Who?
George Farley.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
He's in boot camp, so he's seen this kind of thing, and he's our age, so he's not a boomer. And he would kind of have an idea
Yeah.
he would have an idea of where to kind of place this topic.
Yeah, we should at some point in the future, one of our podcasts, get George Farley on here
There are a lot of
and
people we
see
should
what
have
he
on
has
here.
to say about it.
Yeah.
I
We
don't know
should.
if he's at boot camp. It might be hard to get him on here, but we can try to make it work.
Well, I mean, maybe we could
Yeah.
just hear his drill sergeant
He's
yelling
there.
at him in the background.
I'm sorry. He's there. He knows kind of what the dynamic is. I have no idea what the dynamic is like at boot camp or
Yeah, I mean, none of us
Whatever.
really do. Like the most experience I have with the military is I used to go to Civil Air Patrol, but that's not the real military. It's more like a sort of little taste of what it's like.
Just an appetizer.
Yeah. It's like it's a
Propagandizer.
prerequisite for the military if you really want to go in there, or the Air Force more specifically.
Lucas, did you just call it a propagandatizer?
yes.
Ooh,
That is
wait,
that is the
that's a
best word
spicy
I've heard all day.
thing to say.
That is awesome.
All right, wait. I'm looking it up right now. Propagandatizer. Is it a word?
It better be.
It is not a word.
Ah,
You can get a word in the dictionary and you'll be famous.
Urban Dictionary?
Go at it right now.
I don't know. Or wait, I might have to make an account or something. I really don't want to have to associate myself with the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
not
bad
doing
thing.
that right now.
That's a
I
bad thing
wouldn't
to
either.
associate yourself with.
But if one of you listeners wants to pen the word propaganditizer and define it as a tiny taste of something that convinces you to buy the whole program, then go ahead and do it. I don't know.
Please do. Please do. All right, folks, we will be right back with segment 3 of the W Ritz podcast. Just hold on to your horses because there's more coming and you're not going to want to miss it.
All right, guys, welcome back to the third segment. I am wrapping up this round in Fortnite real quick before we start. Or wait, last two. One second. Shield up. All right, get this guy. He's running. All right. Get back here. Yes. He's one shot. Victory Royale, baby.
Woo!
Let's go.
Good job,
All right.
Lucas. We're proud of you.
Well,
Dang! Wow! What a play.
spray. All right, we're done. Wasn't that great? All right.
That
Back
was
to this
amazing.
third segment. Anyway, I know we covered our music already, but there was something I wanted to touch on.
Oh, come on, man. You
And-
want to add more?
Started thinking, what was that?
I said, come on, man. You want to add more?
Sure. I started thinking about this when Will mentioned that he was a little shocked that I did not like Bohemian Rhapsody. And I have to say, it's not that I don't like Queen, and it's not like that I don't not like any particular band or song genre as a whole. But most of the music on my playlist is like the best songs from each genre. Like if I go to my playlist, I've got the really nice rock songs and I've got really nice electronic songs. And it's always like the best song of that genre. So like people that only listen to rock, I don't get it, because not that all rock sounds the same, but it kind of does. Like all the instruments are virtually the same with
Right,
not
well,
as much
yeah.
variation.
There's a reason why
Yeah,
it's a genre.
It gets
Sound
a
the
little
same.
stale after a while, after listening to the same style over and over again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
you get what I'm saying?
I like to
Yeah, I
bounce
get-
mine
I
out
get
with a
what
little
you're
All
saying.
pop.
country songs. It's the same with country songs. It's the same with love pop songs. It's almost the same with electronic music. Definitely dubstep, but I don't
Oh,
even
for
listen to
sure.
dubstep that much. But you get what I'm saying? So I like "We Will Rock You" by Queen because it's a completely different feel than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
one of my favorite bands is Outkast because almost every one of their songs is completely different.
True.
Interesting. All right. Yeah,
That's fair.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much the same way. Like there are some genres I prefer, but after listening to a couple hours of heavy metal, you kind of get tired of it, so you want to switch to something different.
You do. But anyways, gentlemen, now that we're done talking about topics that we've already gone over, which that's not a
Sorry.
jab at anyone at all. I mean, no, just kidding, Lucas. You're good.
Of course not.
This is a podcast where we talk about whatever the heck we want to, and you're fitting right in. But in any case, I thought I'd close this out with a bit of an interesting news story that I heard about a couple weeks ago. So North Korea, right? It's kind of a crazy place. A little bit.
Pretty dang crazy. Yeah.
that, they're trying to
wouldn't
show the
know.
whole world how amazing they are. They purposely they set up fake car dealerships so that visitors think that there's, prosperity in the country and all that. Crazy stuff like that. They want to keep up their image when they really torture their own citizens. But I was watching this video from Vice News, and this guy was basically reporting on how North Korea actually ships off some of their own citizens to Siberia to cut down lumber and to make the government in North Korea money, because apparently Russia will pay them or something like that. And it's crazy because, he was going into the densest parts of the forests in Siberia, and there was just this big logging camp filled with North Koreans. And, they were pretty mad at him. They were like, no, stop filming. Get out of here. We don't want you to see this. Isn't it crazy, though? Can you imagine? I know Joe Biden isn't our favorite president, but can you imagine if he just shipped us over to, say, China to work in sweatshops manufacturing
Well,
iPhones because we need
Thankfully,
to get out of
the
debt.
Constitution protects us from that
Yeah,
for now.
yeah. Well,
Where-
I think I read that
I don't
North
want to be
Korea's-
that guy that's like source, but like which amendment was it that prevented him from
Well,
deporting us?
I mean, I think
I mean,
I
we're
also
citizens, right?
I think I
But-
also read that in North
It's not-
Korea the Constitution technically protects freedom of religion, and we know that that's not true. So
well,
Well,
So,
you
like,
can't be
it's
thrown
not
in
in-
prison or executed for practicing a religion. Is the whole point.
yeah,
Like, you can be persecuted,
thing-
and that's going to happen, but you're not
but-
going to be. It's not illegal.
yeah.
yeah,
Well, back to the source thing. It's just not in the president's power to be able to do that because
yeah.
in
And
the
I wasn't
Constitution
making
it
you
says
imagine that because I
it-
wanted to say,
yeah.
well, you know, I was saying, imagine if that happened. Like that would be ridiculous.
yeah,
man.
yeah, I get that.
I would exercise my Second Amendment right.
Exactly.
Amen, brother.
That's why we have the Second Amendment, right? So if anybody in the government abuses their power, we just shoot them.
Bang.
Amen,
Solves all our
brother.
problems.
Just like Lucas was doing today in Fortnite.
Yes,
Yes,
It
exactly.
was all a Second Amendment awareness campaign.
Gaming
That's
is
why
gaming is a
Fortnite
second
is the most based game because it promotes the Second Amendment.
gaming is a Second Amendment protected activity, especially if you're using guns.
Oh yeah.
Like in China, you only get like an allotted 1 hour of video game time.
Yeah,
a
they
week.
can't do that over here. Second Amendment, baby.
Well, guys, that's going to be it here at the W Ritz podcast. Of all your ways you could choose to waste your time, I'm glad you chose to waste it with us. And another thank you to Lucas here for coming on our podcast. And
That's
I
me.
hope he had a great time. And if he didn't, well, shut up then.
That's right.
That'll be all from us, and peace out.